To the woman who asked my mother, "So, when did you get your daughter?" Because my caramel-colored complexion all of a sudden makes me unable to be born from a white woman. To the middle school girls who ask to straighten my hair as if my crinkled curls don't compare. To the strangers who call me everything, from Indian to Cuban and Arabian to Colombian. They try to detect me as if I am a mysterious case. Not that there is anything wrong with those ethnicities, but they are not me. They don't define anyone. Identify with the truth. To the beings out there who call me Oreo, caramel latte, coffee with extra cream, I play along just to please you, laugh and agree with you, when in reality, I hate being compared to food and beverages. Are the mixed girls and boys out there nothing more than a 3-layer cookie and an overpriced drink at Starbucks? This world needs to get over using labels and racial slurs. They are thrown around like a careless baby throwing toys his mother just gathered. To the little girl who says to her mom, "Why is she dark?" As I cling to my warm Caucasian mother. No one sees the other half. Consumed by his color I am, his features don't appear though. Surely not my dad and surely not my mom, you say. To my acquaintances who say that I act pretty white for a half-black girl. So let me get this straight. I'm supposed to act a certain way because of my race. I'll make sure to use slang and wear a weave I don't feel I need. Is that what black is to you? Click newsflash. People come in all forms, different styles, different opinions, and different personalities. And us Oreos, so do we. Hi guys, my name is Michaela Wittman, and I was first introduced to slam poetry my senior year of high school, and I was fascinated by this art form because I saw poets being able to express their thoughts with such vivid language and essentially be able to break any rules in the English language to share such deep thoughts. And for me, as a biracial person, I felt some sort of obligation to share about my race and ethnicity. So today, I want to share a little bit about the background of my poem and how it's changed over time. And second, some of my thoughts as a Christian and where I find my true identity. And lastly, I want to share about how we can move past this and develop a strong future. Just like anything, this was not the first draft of my poem. It has made some changes, and at first I started with the concept of race, and I allowed society to shape my view of race and ethnicity based on labels and categories that people would put me in. But I realized that I didn't actually have the accurate view of what race really is. And as embarrassing as it sounds, I was often confused between the difference of race and ethnicity. And being a student, I looked to Crash Course to help explain this to me, and she explained it really well. She said that race is something that is a social construct based on biological traits that society thinks are important. And that last part is so significant. It's about what society says is important. And so that is oftentimes our skin color. Whereas we can all agree that a person can be white and with brown hair and white with red hair, and neither is more white than the other. On the flip side, ethnicity is something where people are able to embrace their culture. Race was something that made me feel like I had to measure up to a certain standard and fit into a specific mold. And I was raised by a white woman, and I didn't really feel like I could identify at all with them because I was brown, and I didn't know my father, so I didn't know that background at all. And so I had this dilemma. I didn't know where my true identity was. So that leads me into my next point of where I found my true identity as a Christian. I realized that my identity is something so much greater than the labels and the categories that people would place me in. And I watched a sermon on racism, and the pastor, Rick Warren, who graduated from 3 different theological seminary colleges, enlightened me with the concept that we should not be boastful in our origin because we essentially had nothing to do with that. And so to say that one people group is superior to the other is not even accurate. And what's interesting is that the Bible and science and the American Anthropological Association can all agree that we come from one common ancestry. And the Bible talks about this, that we are essentially a part of one race, and that is the human race. And although this sounds maybe super cheesy and super cliche, it completely alleviated the standards that I felt I had to measure up to. So where do we go from here? How do we move past this based on some of the thoughts that I expressed? Well, I think realizing where our true identity is and realizing that we are a common people and that we should not be putting people in different categories, but realizing that we can all embrace our cultural differences. And I want to emphasize that my thoughts do not promote the concept of colorblindness, which essentially is disregarding any type of physical differences that we may have, but realizing that we can celebrate those differences because they were never meant to divide us, and that we should be people who delight in those differences just as God delights in us, his creation. Thank you.